My name is Hannah Harriman. I'm a therapist down at the Refuge Center in Franklin. I went to Vanderbilt University for undergrad, and then I went to Tribeca University for grad school. And today, the topic that I'm going to be discussing is about disconnecting. So a lot of times when we think of disconnecting, we think of from our phones, from screens. But I'm also going to bring in the element of what it looks like to disconnect from others too, intentionally, so that we can begin to live more intentionally and present in our lives. So just a little background about me. I love my phone. I have it on me all the time. It's right over there. I had to turn off a lot of notifications so that I'm able to do this undistracted. And y'all probably are getting buzzed at as I speak right now. Maybe it's your watch going off, that there's an event going on right now, or sometimes trying to get your attention, or you're getting an email from your teacher about your assignment that you're procrastinating until later tonight. We have a lot of external things grabbing for our attention. Everything makes it seem like it's urgent right now. I really want to challenge that and have you think about, okay, what are priorities in your life that it makes it seem urgent, that like I have the urge to check right now, as opposed to just sitting intentionally for the next 10, 15 minutes or so during this conversation. So a challenge for you right now. I want you to turn off your phone, silence it, put on airplane, mute your watch, mute anything that can be of a distraction right now. And we're just going to be pretty present of where we are. And just look inwardly. If it helps you, you can write some thoughts down using a piece of paper. If you're like, but I need to write on my notes on my phone, okay, put it on airplane mode then so that no one can get a hold of you. This is going to be your time to just be really present, aside from what's trying to grab your attention right now. So at times I can find myself on autopilot going from the next thing, checking my phone, checking Instagram, looking at emails. And a lot of times I'm doing it in places where it's like, I really want to be present right now. Like when I am just watching my son play, I'm like, oh, maybe now is the time to like respond back to like my friend who texted me earlier, when it's like, oh, I'm like missing out on like my son playing right now. Or if now who checks email when they're in the restroom? Me. It seems like the most convenient time, but like, really? Do we really need to be checking our email while we're going to the bathroom? Like, shouldn't that like wait till we can give like our total attention to that task? And so we live very connected, which has its plus and minuses. If you want, you can watch The Social Dilemma and think about, what your response is to that. But what I'm going to talk about is why we need to disconnect. So a lot of you might be thinking, maybe this is just for introverts. Like, I know they like to get their alone time, but really disconnecting allows us to connect full body, full mind, body, spirit, heart, and connect with God. So when we're able to disconnect, we're able to live more present and intentionally where we are. So a lot of times we use what connects us or what we might use as distractions because there's a lot of stuff that's going on internally that we might not want to deal with. So I want to challenge you with this question in this phrase of we use external distractions to keep us from feeling what we are experiencing internally. So a lot of times that can be pain, or hurt, or anger, or sadness, or shame. And we use coping tools like our phones or going out with friends to prevent us from looking inward. And they help us keep looking outward, keep seeing something else to do, keep seeing a distraction that's easier to do rather than doing the work of what's inside. So that I want to bring as just a starting question for you of why, when I go on my phone or when I go on a screen or when I watch Netflix for the third time in a day, or when I call a friend, when I'm just sitting in silence, like what am I keeping myself from experiencing? Because here's the truth: the more we keep distancing ourselves from the emotions that are inward, and keep looking externally outward, the bigger they'll become. And if you can't imagine, like a soda bottle, this is the image I bring a lot. Imagine you have a soda bottle and you're just shaking it, shaking, shaking, shaking. Eventually, the carbonation, the bubbles get bigger and bigger. So eventually, like, you've shaken it so much, it just explodes, like without you knowing. What it means to look internally is to stop the shaking, to say, okay, I need to like have these emotions calm down when I'm centered, when I'm in a good place, when I'm able to open up, when I can journal about them, when I can talk to someone about them, when I can listen to music and just think about, some of the pain I've been going through. That's like opening up the bottle cap. That allows us to look internally through what we're looking at. Um, when we're able to open up the bottle cap on our own accord, it comes out less sideways than if we were to just continue to shake the bottle, continue to ignore what's going on. And then, gosh, it might come out with me yelling at my friend or family member, or maybe just come out with me bursting into tears of someone saying something that really wasn't a big deal. That's how things come out sideways. And that's when we know, like, okay, there's something ongoing in here. So that's really like why we use external things. We're distracted. We can be bored. Or there's something going on. And I really want to challenge you, like when you use any device, any distraction, like what is that keeping you from? Well, how is that keeping you from connecting with yourself? That's a huge relationship right there, is the one with yourself. It's the most vulnerable. That can really bring a lot of work. So next area is just like, why does this matter? How does this keep us from our relationship with God then? So if you think about it, how has social media, technology, and a culture of today made it easier for you to connect with God? So I imagine some of you might have your Bible on your phone. That's awesome. Some of you might be able to like send a verse to a friend when they're down or discouraged, or they need some help right now. That's great. Like those are great ways our phone and like can help us connect with others. But there's also, the truth that, gosh, a lot of times it's easier for me to like scroll on Instagram than to like actually open my Bible and engage in the Word. Maybe it's easier for me to spend 15 minutes looking at what others are writing on Facebook than 15 minutes praying, where I know what's hurting others right now, or even what I need prayer for myself. So maybe asking yourself, how is this tool good for me? Like, what are good uses for it? Also, how is it hurting me? Like, how is it disconnecting me from God? When we're able to differentiate the two, we can realize, like, wow, there is a lot of space that I can have where I don't need a phone next to me while I do my quiet time, or while I'm at church, or when I'm having a deep spiritual conversation with someone. Verse that I like to use is, the thief comes only to steal and kill, but I've come to give life and life to the fullest. So that's John 10:10. And for me, I think of what that means in regards to just distractions, what keeps us from connecting with God. Our phone can be great, but it can also be a thief from us. It can rob time easily. Oh my goodness. Who is on Instagram for what they think is 5 minutes and an hour passes? Happens way too often. So yeah, the thief comes to steal and kill, so our phone or others can keep us distracted. But Jesus comes to give us life to the fullest. So what does that mean to engage intentionally with Him? Um, and that can look many different ways, like whether through reading your Bible, engaging in prayer, joining a Bible study, being involved in your college ministry on campus are all awesome ways to engage in your relationship with the Lord and grow in that. Um, so we've talked about a lot about screens. I also want to bring the challenge about how we can use our friends as a distraction as well. And, this comes of, um, I love conversing with friends. I would define myself as an extrovert. I love seeing them, especially now when we're in quarantine. It's really hard to just, see others. But recognizing, okay, I can use my friends as a distraction the same way that I can use my phone. I can use like keeping up with their lives, and the mindset of, oh, I want to be intentional. But really, it's distracting me from maybe the pain I feel in my own life. So I'm checking their Instagram story, or, I'm wanting to grab coffee with them when really I need to grab coffee with myself, engage with myself, and know what's going on. So that's just the challenge of like, are there times when you could really use alone space? Um, like what would that look like? What would that look like to go on a date with yourself? How would you want to treat yourself? Like I have one friend that like goes get Panera mac and cheese, because she loves doing that, and that's a time for her to journal and reflect and just catch up with herself of like, gosh, like this week has been really hard. Like this season has been really hard. How am I doing? Once a week, or once a week, I wish. Once a month, I go get coffee by myself. And it's one of the sweetest times that I just sit with me and I allow myself to feel all that I've been feeling. I allow journal myself, just journal some of the strong emotions that are coming up, some of the things I'm processing. And I bring God into it. Like, God, this is a relationship that I need in this right now. I need help where I am. So just being honest. I think that's a great inward work and exercise to do. Some other things I thought about in regards to disconnecting are just some books, and ideas for like wanting to detox and really disconnecting intentionally. So a few books I'm going to recommend are How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy. It's a great one. The second is called Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. The third one is Start Out of Our Light. The fourth is Digital Minimalism. And then the movie I'm going to recommend, I mentioned this earlier, is called The Social Dilemma. Okay, so ideas for just disconnecting. What does that look like? Okay, so I have 5 different ones. So in the morning, go online after you've only taken time with God and His Word, and only after you've taken time to decide what you have to do. This way, God and you determine your agenda, not what you think your urgent email should. So that may come with like putting notifications off to like 8 a.m. or putting your phone on sleep mode, or on airplane mode till 8 a.m. or something like that, depending on when you wake up. 2, work twice a day for 1 hour offline. So put your phone in flight mode, turn off your internet connection. You'll be amazed at how much easier like it'll be to be productive, just by living completely undistracted within those 2 hours that you're giving yourself. It doesn't have to be consecutive, but just twice. Maybe it's a class that you find have had difficulty paying attention to. It's like, well, I'm just gonna put my phone on airplane mode during this, and maybe you can wean something from that class that you wouldn't have been able to if you were constantly on your phone. Okay, so 3. So here's a question of why not set aside a half day or a day once or twice per month during which you deliberately disconnect in order to focus on what is important to you spiritually, professionally, and personally. So that what my friend calls it is it's literally like a do nothing day. Like you have no screens at all. You have no plans. You literally just kind of sit with yourself and you're allowed to like able to really visualize your goals of what you want. So those three areas again are spiritually, professionally, and personally. So another is check your emails only during restricted periods during the day. So instead of having your email on your phone, what if you just had it on your computer, and when it's 7 p.m. at night, that's your time to check and respond to emails. So that way you're not constantly getting them and being like, oh, this is urgent. There's the wise words of like, if I'm available to anyone always at all times, then I have no boundaries or limits to myself that everyone can take away my time. And it's like, your time is yours. You can decide when to engage with others. So next one is that hour you go before sleep. What would it look like to turn off your screens, your computer, your phone, and just read a good book, or even the Bible, or even just have some time for meditation or prayer, to just really help you relax. There's all the research that shows screens before bed are not good. So just a challenge there. That's another idea. Then the last one is, have you thought about a Sabbath day from whatever may be distracting you? You can leave your phone in flight mode all day or at home, and you personally don't get on your computer. I know that can be a lot harder being a college student. Believe me, when I definitely struggled a lot with, the bind between how much time should I be spending on my phone, my computer, and like trying to engage with others. It's a really hard balance, but just being aware of where life can feel unbalanced can bring perspective of how can then you bring in systems and boundaries for yourself to really get yourself back, to really have more control of your life when it feels like everything is fighting for it. Everything's fighting for my attention, to keep me distracted, when it's like, actually, you have a lot of autonomy in that. And if you're unsure, you can talk to a mentor. You can bring God through prayer and ask him where maybe some areas that you're struggling with that. So I'm going to leave you with this verse, 2 Corinthians 12:9. But he said, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so the power of Christ may rest upon me. So if you find this an area where it's really difficult, or like you're not sure where to even begin making boundaries, if you're really weak in regards to maybe turning your phone off, that's okay. This is not easy. We have our phones on us all the time. We have friends in abundance. But maybe really claim that like God is here with you in this work. God is able to help you. So these are my thoughts and some things to think about as we talk about disconnectedness. I hope this video finds you all during this time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Hannah Harriman, and my email is hannah.harriman@therefugecenter.org. Bye, guys.